Hello and welcome to Dykes WPBSA Snooker Coach, and in today's lesson we're going to discuss how to form a good solid bridge. So basically, to form the bridge, you hand down onto the base of the table flat, spread the fingers as much as possible, and then draw your fingers up from the very first knuckle. And as you draw them up, you'll feel that your fingertips start to pinch the bed of the table. Now, as soon as you feel that pinch, that's enough grip on there to keep that bridge nice and solid. So spread those fingers as much as you can, draw at the first knuckle until the pinch is there, and we're nice and solid, really gripping onto that cloth now. And then from there we bring our thumb to meet our index finger, so that it creates a channel for our cue to run through. Okay? Now it's really important that when you first put your bridge down and you start to develop your bridge, you start with the fingers as wide as possible, because if you notice, as you draw in that first knuckle to create that firm bridge, your fingers will close in on each other. So if I draw in, they start to close in on each other. Yeah? So if we started narrow, this is quite common on a beginner, and if we start quite narrow and then we draw in, they always touch, and that's you giving yourself a chance for this bridge to rock. Okay, so we must be really spread, draw in at the first knuckle until we get that pinch and that real grip at the palm of the hand, base of the palm of the hand, and the fingertips pinching onto the table. Bring the thumb to the index finger to create a V, and a nice smooth channel for that cue to run through. Okay, now there's variations of the bridge, ever so slightly. So as you've spread your fingers, you've drawn them in to create your natural bridge. I'll just bring the cue down onto the channel I've created with my index finger and thumb. Some players will invert the bridge inwards for more stability and structure. Okay, now that's quite common. A lot of players, if you watch players like Stuart Bingham, is quite big on inverting that bridge inwards ever so slightly, and Mark Selby ever so slightly as well. It just creates a little bit more stability within the bridge and a lot more grip onto the table. Okay, but we want to start flat, drawing in at the first knuckle, bringing the thumb up to the index finger, all the pads of the fingertips really gripping on as much as possible to the table, along with the fleshy part of the palm. Okay, you can just experiment if it feels more stable and solid with a little inversion inwards. Okay, so it's running over the middle finger's fingertip almost. Okay, so just try that, practice it, it's really important. So you want to practice these variations of these bridges to find out what suits you best, what you're most comfortable with, and what has most stability for you and has most stability for that cue going through it in a nice, smooth, controlled manner over the index finger and thumb and that channel that you've created within your bridge. Whether you have a straight-on bridge or a slight inversion, whatever creates the most stability within yourself and within your bridge is fine. Just make sure that the key parts is to make sure you've spread those fingers really wide, you've drawn in at the first knuckle until you have feel a good pinch and stable grip on the cloth with your pads of your fingertips. Okay, so I'll just take a few shots up and down the spots here. Hopefully you can see that. And just while we're on the subject of the bridge, a quick note on bridge distance. We have a perfect guide here with the D at the table. Now, if your bridge and your thumb and index finger, where your thumb meets your index finger to create that channel, is just on the top of the curve of this D, that's about the good distance to be from the bridge hand to the tip of the cue on the cue ball. Okay? Some instances you could be a little bit away or a little bit in, depending on what eventually suits you better, but as a good guide to begin with, if your thumb and index finger where they meet to create that channel is on the top of that curve of that D, that's a good base part to start. Alright, so I'm just going to run this down through the spots using this bridge. You come down, you're on that curve, nice and spread, pinch upon the first knuckle, gripping with palm of the hand and the fingertips. Nice smooth striking, up and down the spots. There again. I'll just go through that one more time for you. Just on the curve of the D, spread nice and wide, drawing in at the first knuckle. Nicely up and down the spots. Good luck with that practice. Work on that, get a really good solid bridge. So that's one of the 3 main contact points we want to be really solid going forward. So good luck with that practice.